I know that there's 8 hours we can record, but we're not going to do that.
Oh, we can't. I'm sorry, but darling, I can't stay here for 8 hours. And about 4, I have to be at work, and it's just such a drag.
By the way,
Snagglepuss.
Really nice. That's an old school reference. So, David, in COLDR, when we were talking pre-show earlier, I forgot. This is what I was going to hold up when we were talking about the
drama that was.
Yes, all the drama. So,
yeah,
I completely forgot till the episode was done. We were off air, and I looked over and I was like, "Fuck! I forgot my big ass coffee cup." Like as a joke.
It's okay. There was plenty to go around. Okay. Well.
Ooh, that's very yummy. Yes.
What is that?
Well, so when I ran, so I went to the bathroom, did costume change shirt, throw on the hat, get to the kitchen, and I was like, I'm gonna make a boozy milkshake because, damn it, I haven't had one in a long time, and I got some crappy gelato in the freezer.
Crappy gelato.
It was really disappointing. Like there was too much guar gum or some other substance in it. It was like
guar.
Well, it made everything kind of like taffy-ish.
Ooh.
Yeah, I was really irritated by it. I don't know if the gelato just wasn't good, although it was from a company in a store that I've bought ice cream and gelato from before. So I don't know. It was just weird. And so I was really irritated, and I was and I thought I need to get rid of this. And then I was like, oh, but if I add booze and milk and some seasoning and spices, I can probably doctor the hell out of that and not hate it. So
ta-da.
Hence I added some Frangelico and some whole milk and some fresh nutmeg and some other seasoning, some more vanilla stuff. And then to be really wacky and crazy, I put fresh pomegranates, not fresh pomegranates, frozen pomegranate barrels in it, because I bought pomegranates on clearance a week ago or something at the local grocery store. In the produce section, they have a little stand off to one side, and they always put their produce that's clearance, it gotta go because it's gotta go bad. So I got 2 pomegranates for $1.
Ooh, nice.
Right. And I was like, I ain't passing out 2 pomegranates for $1. Not that I need them. But
do you ever write your food experiments down as a recipe or something?
No. Yeah, yes, but no, not very often. But so anyways, I had the pomegranates for another 2 or 3 days, and I could tell either I do something with these or I'm gonna have to pitch them. And I didn't want to waste the $1, so I got my big plastic bowl and I put a whole bunch of water in it, because I don't know if you've ever heard of this trick, but when you cut open a pomegranate, because the inside of it is full of all the little perils, they look like purplish corn kernels, basically.
Yeah, it's kind of the seeds, but not really.
Yeah. So anyways, it has
it's the flavor bombs.
Yeah. So it has this papery kind of membrane that they attach to and holds it. So if you put that underwater, you can easily pop the little things off that. And then the little pomegranate seeds, the perils, they fall to the bottom, and then the paper stuff floats to the top. And so you keep the outer shell kind of in your
easy
hand,
separation.
Yeah. So instead of screwing around with it under running water or whatever. So anyways, I did that, and then I froze 2 pomegranates worth of the little things. So
and now you have a very pomegranate. Pomegranate, that works.
Pomegranate.
Pomegranate. I like pomegranate. By the way, welcome to COL492, the live holiday hangout. I'm Jeff. That's David, and Gary's the one who's been chatting about his boozy beverage. We have the lines open.
Yay!
For people to go ahead and join us to just hang out with us. there's really no specific topic. We're probably just going to chatter about practically nothing. I just woke up because overnights suck. But if anything, at least after tonight, I've got 5 days off.
Nice.
So that's going to be fantastic. And yes. That's why my voice is the way it is. But what better way to start the show with than just some random chatter? Also, another thing I forgot, because again, I just woke up. I have something else that I can do.
Uh-oh. What's he gonna do?
So for those of you that are like totally thrown off by this unconventional beginning, it's Sunday, December 23rd, and this comes out loud. The Bear Podcast of Indeterminate Length, episode 492, or as we're calling it, the live holiday show of 2018, because I think we did this last year. We were just kind of like, hey, we're gonna go live, and we put the link out for people to watch us or to join us on webcam, and just gonna have a chit chat about some stuff. So
do some things and have some fun and probably drink. Well, maybe not all of us, because one of us has to go to work. Sorry, Jeff.
Tonight. Well, it's not because I have to go to work. It's because I don't have booze of any sort. I don't even have beer.
Take the excuse. You've got to work. You've got to be on your best behavior because you're heading to work.
Because going into work drunk, well, like it sounds great, is probably not the best move.
It's also overnight, so nobody will be able to know.
Never say never.
Besides, what's your favorite breakfast beer? By the way, I like my lights.
Breakfast beer.
Oh, pretty.
Oh, yay. I don't have any.
Yeah, if you had to have beer for breakfast, what beer would you have? That is our current poll.
Oh gosh, beer in the morning. God. Oh, if I were to have a beer in the morning, it's not really a beer. I'd probably have like a cider. Or what we have here in town, we have a company called Rheingeist, and they have a beer called Bubbles, which is a rosé ale. It's kind of a grapefruit and something else. I'm gonna have to find it, but I would have that in the morning because it would be like kind of almost like a nice little cidery morning kind of breakfast, but it would have some alcohol in it because, you know, we want to get drunk. If we want to get drunk in the morning, we might as well do it right. So,
sorry, I was getting into the chat, so I totally missed all of that.
That's okay. They got it. So Rheingeist Bubbles is a light, dry, and light rosé ale with apple, peach, and cranberry for tartness and blush.
Rosé ale? I've never heard that term before.
I haven't either until not just now, but I like when I we went actually. I think it was a couple years ago, Gary, when you were here. And we all kind of went on a little tour in our Cubs Out Loud t-shirts. And I think I had it then. And yeah, loved it. So
Damon got turned. And he got a fave. So, you know.
Yes, that would be my favorite. And that would be my breakfasty. Like, if I were to have beer in the morning, that would be the thing. And speaking of lights.
Aww.
Back in the corner. So you can
you got the angles so that you had your chemistry in there. You also have the plastic bin, which I'm assuming is holding some decorations in there.
Yeah, that's why I'm like this right now. This is called the middle of the So Jim has been the decorator for us because I do not have that gene. Sorry,
you don't have that panache.
Exactly, I do not. I could not decorate. I mean, I probably could if I had stuff like together, but I don't come up with like, let's put this together with this and do this and all that, and then get something like this, which is lovely. So Jim's the one that does that, but Jim is also working nights until like 10 in the evening because he's at Kings Island for Winterfest, being Santa Claus. So if you've seen my partner, you know he's appropriately Santa. and that means we've kind of been doing the decorating as he can, really. So there's some things here and there I can look around and see. We've done a few things outside and inside and over, in the tree and everything else, but it's been very like when he can, which is usually during the day when he's not working. And we got little things, and it's cute. I mean, as I look around my house and look at things, I can see like a lot of little things that we've put together, and he's done a really great job. I almost wore, because there's over here, there's a wreath that he had made us around something that we've always had in the corner. And I was like, oh, I'll wear that as opposed to just a Santa hat. But I was like, nah, let's do this.
Stick with the Cubs Out Loud shirt and a Santa hat.
Yes. And some leather, because why not? I'm going to try this now.
Santa baby, slip a sable under the tree for me. I've been a very good boy. Santa baby.
Ooh, this is not bad.
Hurry down my chimney tonight. For a game ahead, hurry down my chimney tonight.
He doesn't say hurry down my. She says hurry down the chimney.
Well, have you guys seen the Jimmy Fallon Miley Cyrus?
Mm-mm.
Oh, you've got to see Miley Cyrus sing Santa Baby, but she changes all the words to bring it up to like modern day because she thinks it's very sexist and misogynistic, which is hysterical. Only the premise is she changes all the lyrics right before they go on to do the skit on the show. So Jimmy doesn't know what she's going to sing. So he's attempting to give her gifts, which she no longer wants because she's like, basically like, I'm an independent woman. I don't need these things. It's really funny. Nice. I watched it earlier this morning and I was like, oh, that was really cute. It was fun.
Sweet.
So
the thing about Santa Baby is I really think that she's trying to use her sex appeal to get everything she freaking wants.
I don't disagree with that conceptually as a song, that's what it is. I would say that there's also an attitude of I'm worth all of these things. So if you're going to give me gifts, give me the gifts that are appropriate to my level and taste.
Santa Baby.
I don't know. I would use my sex appeal to get everything I wanted if I could, but I don't know. I think there's a limited amount of sexiness that I have. Not to say I'm not sexy, just I only have so much sexiness.
You have sexiness in doses or in parts, in things. Parts. The same parts.
So Damon, I want to have a discussion about something since you brought up about what Jim's doing occupationally, because we've referenced this before and I think we just need to get it out there. So let's talk about the fetishization of old Saint Nick, shall we?
Yeah, and
because the three of us don't have a problem with the concept of Santa Claus being a object of desire. I'm curious, being,
as I've said many a time,
for Damon being in a very long-standing relationship with Jim, who actually dresses up and is a Santa's helper in life. I'm curious to know like how you feel about that and if that is anything of a dynamic. Like,
okay.
And by that I mean I'm not trying to like peek in the door of your bedroom. I'm just saying I would find it interesting if I was with a partner who did that. Like if that's a pro, you know what I mean? Like that goes in the plus column, like whether or not that leads to role play later in a different, aspect.
I mean, you got to think of it this way. It's not like the only thing. It's just kind of like a bonus,
Yeah. So, so first of all, no. That's to kind of put it out there. So, while Jim is a Santa and does Santa related activities and things, both he and I have agreed, and actually he mostly has said, I don't put this on for the fetishization. Like he would, if so, he has been asked, and he's told me he's been asked, by people to be sexy Santa and do sexy things with them. And while he's flattered, his answer is usually no. And it has mostly to do with the fact that in a lot of ways, this is his job. I'm not saying that it doesn't happen. I'm sure there are plenty of like Santas out there that do it as their real job and have no problem with taking it to that level. And I'm sure there are plenty of people who love that. He does not. Now, for me personally, as a Santa lover, enjoyer, I'm on the fence about it. It's hard. With Jim, I could never do it, mostly because I know he wouldn't want to do it and he would be into it. And two, we already have our dynamic and what we do with things. And to add that letter layer onto it might be a little weird.
A
little too much. Now, if I were to meet someone that was kind of that, Santa, ish build and, had the suit on and something like that. And, they whispered in my ear, ho, 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 or something like that. There might be some.
Are you my ho, ho, ho?
There might be some intrigue. There's one in particular who lives in Columbus that I saw this weekend, or not this weekend, but maybe last weekend, wearing his Santa stuff. And it was enticing.
Well, I will say this.
Every time I watch Santa Claus the movie, that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I will say this. While Santa Claus is an entity, like has some, some sex appeal about him, Jim, as your other half, Damon, adds a whole new element, because I'm thinking a BDSM Santa can be really hot. And I'm not saying that I'm desiring that of Jim. Like, I'm just saying,
in a naughty boy.
Mm-hmm. Right there. That's the shit. Like, I literally almost, for this kind of statement that I'm giving, I almost grabbed like one of my paddles to kind of just have out here, but I changed my mind. I was like, because to me, that would be the like turn around for me. Like, to like complete, like, if you want me to completely get into like a whole Santa like role play scene, whatever, that's going to be the Santa that's going to do it for me. The more BSM, the more like aggressive, like naughty boy, like, all that shit there, that will be it. Like, I'll be like, ooh, okay, yeah, I will lose it. Not lose it per se, but that'll put me in that mode and that mood to really get into it.
I have to say that, well, we'll get into this in a moment. On a certain website that has sort of is dying or whatever, there was a whole lot of imagery about Santa fetishization, and I must say the ones that really appealed to me more were the ones with him in a harness, where he was, taking on a kind of a certain role. So yeah, that I don't know how much. Actually, I can't think of any. I'm gonna have to defer to you, Damon, as our potential online porn guru. If there's really been any bear porn that has Santas in it necessarily. Yes. Okay.
Yes. There have been, and bear and like chub porn. There have definitely been like Santa's
heavy fantasies.
Yep, that's the one. Heavy Fantasies is one. There's a couple of others that I can't remember off the top of my head, but there are some that have been out there where there is a Santa thing. And if you go to like, and in a lot of ways, I've seen it more in chub communities than I have seen it in bear per se, but there's some correlation, I know Chubb Videos does a couple. Hell, I'm pretty sure recently, let me check. I think Monster Cub did coming up the chimney, a Christmas orgy.
Okay.
Wow. And you've got a mix of they pretty much are all quote unquote characters from Santa holiday theme related things. You've got an elf, you've got a reindeer, you've got Frosty, you've got Jack Frost, you've got Santa. And it's if you look at if you're going to Monster Cub, you can find it. Like it's the very first one because it just came out this weekend, I'm pretty sure.
That would be why I know nothing about this. I'm like, well, let me go online and
I think he's had some other ones too.
Yes, he has. He actually had I think he had one with Rusty G as like I saw Daddy fucking Santa Claus or something along those lines. Like I could yeah. There have been a few, and I think there's been. I just saw the name Rusty McMahon did a couple of scenes. Oh, I saw Daddy kissing Santa Claus. Whoops, excuse me. He wasn't fucking him. I mean, there's fucking, and he does fuck Santa Claus. But, but it, there have been a couple, and so it's out there. This whole idea of a sexy Santa, a bearish Santa, a fucking Santa, or getting fucked Santa, all of that is kind of out there. And I'm okay with that.
Listen to you. I am okay with that. As if you weren't okay with it, it would, really make that much of a difference. Yeah. But no, I mean, it kind of cracked me up because I was thinking about it and I was like, yeah, there's a thing. It's a thing whether people want to get into it or not necessarily.
Yeah. I knew there was another one. So Monster Cub has done a few, because now as I'm remembering, because I saw Rusty McMahon on when I was looking for Rusty G. Rusty McMahon.
I don't think he has Rusty G on Monster Cub.
He does.
Does he?
There's Rusty G and Rusty McMahon.
Right, but I don't think he's on the Monster Cub site. I don't think Rusty G has been on there. I think that's only been Bear Film stuff.
Nope. He's on there.
Oh, I must have missed those.
It was very
scroll back, apparently.
It was very early on. Kind of I'll tell it like it is. Back when Hunter, who is the Monster Cub, was doing more where he would wear condoms and it wasn't all bareback. So we're talking about like years ago. That he was doing that. So and then there's a scene with Rusty McMahon and another guy, and it's called Servicing Santa. So
that one I don't think I saw the video of, but I think I saw stills, photography shots from that, which he had done. That was like a year ago, maybe, or the year before, back when he had a Tumblr account and Facebook and posted that kind of stuff. So while we're on the topic of fetishizing Santa Claus, I have not seen this on Netflix yet because I am conflicted about the fact that I am turned on, and yet this is not a porn. On Netflix is The Christmas Chronicles with Kurt Russell playing Santa Claus.
Yeah.
And him in that big ass beard with that long silvery gray hair.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Is it doing things to you? Is it giving your heart palpitations?
It's distracting, to say the least. He's not even naked or anything. I mean, he's wearing this gorgeous, like, red coat with a big white fur and big ass long black, like, gloves. I was like, what?
For some reason, Kurt Russell just isn't doing it for me. It's got to be David Huddleston from Santa Claus the movie. That's my jam, man. When it comes
I know that, Jeff, but I was just like, wow.
It catches you off guard because it's very everyone kind of knows what Kurt Russell looks like. We've seen him, for years, and this is a very different look for him.
I mean, he's not, you know, very large build necessarily with the big tummy that I can see in these promo shots, but
Yeah.
I'm kind of like, you know, from about here up, the aesthetic is all there. Like the look of his hair and his beard and, you know, the gloves and the rest of that jazz. I'm kind of creeped out by the elves or whatever these. Yeah, they must be
I
elves.
haven't looked that far.
One of
I
them
haven't looked at it
has
all.
like these weird long sideburn chop things. Yeah, creepy as fuck, in my opinion. But yeah, like that's aesthetically like as a look, and I'm kind of like, yeah, if Kurt Russell would just put on like 100 pounds and, you know, be naked under the suit, that would be a thing. Maybe, I don't know. I haven't seen the movie. I'm still debating on whether or not I want to watch the movie because I'm all kind of freaked out by the elves now. But
Wow. All right.
yeah,
So again, like you know, Santa is there's a definite like appeal to the like fetishization of a Santa. You know, he's the giver. He's always, you know, there. He's omnipresent in a sense. He's kind of a stalker when you think about it. He sees you when you're sleeping. He knows when you're awake.
well, he's omniscient.
Yeah, omniscient. That's the word I was looking for. You know, but still, he knows when you've been bad or good. Like, so be good, right? Yeah, but what if you're not? What
For
if you
goodness
don't want to
sake.
be good? What if you don't want to be good?
That's true.
Like, sometimes you just want to get naughty.
I think Santa's okay with that, but that's just like my personal thing.
I mean, when it depends on what you're referring to when you mean naughty, because there's the good naughty and there's a bad naughty.
True.
I think that the naughty part of it is more of the bad naughty than it is the good naughty.
True.
So if you're having sex with somebody and being naughty, it's all right. You know, that's not the naughty we're talking about when we mean naughty and nice, because you know, you're both getting pleasure in some way, shape, or form, right? So you're really kind of pleasing people, which is a good thing. So is it really naughty? No, it's very nice.
It can be very nice.
I'm okay.
Did I just blow your mind?
No.
Oh, you were opening your Jello shot. I was like, what the heck is that noise?
Yeah.
I was like, are you opening a present?
Not quite. It might be.
It could be.
This has had a day to settle, so we'll see.
Listen to you. So outside of the fetishization, yeah, I can talk. Is there anything in particular that we consider our holiday faves, like things that we look forward to at this time of year? And
blueberry muffins and orange Chilios.
For
I don't know how many times I've referenced this.
For those of you that missed last week's episode 491, hungry for the holidays.
Any episode rotating around the holidays for death.
I mean, there's family tradition. Now, if I'm going to be like fully traditional in my family's methods, I would get one of those Betty Crocker packages.
Oh,
bless you.
They
make it, but then you know I discovered Good Eats. I didn't say more.
Right.
Yeah.
Then there's no like, you can't get cake flour like in a small portion enough to make it, because that's all I really use cake flour for, and they're never in a good resealable container. So it's like I get a pack of cake flour, I use it for this, and then I have to throw it away because it goes rancid or gets bugs in it or something like that. It's just gross.
Could you try a like airtight Tupperware container potentially?
Yeah, I don't really have any.
Yeah, because that's the only thing I can think of. But then again, I don't bake and I don't cook, so I don't. I mean, let me rephrase. I don't.
I mean, what I could do is just make more muffins over the year. And
well, technically, I think if you were to put it in a zip-proof bag, like let's say you're only going to use it at this time of year, you could plastic wrap the hell out of that son of a bitch. Put it in a zip bag and then just toss it in the freezer.
True. Yeah, you could
flour doesn't really get affected by freezer burn necessarily because it doesn't really have moisture in it. I mean, it has some, but it's not like meat, so to speak, or even vegetables. So, and I mean, it might stale out the flour a little bit, but it's hard to tell. I mean, you could experiment and, 6 months out, take it out of the freezer and
make some muffins, try it out.
And see if the muffins taste okay or crappy or whatever. And if they don't taste good, you can be like, well, all right, that experiment's done, and you could pitch the flour or whatever. But I mean, I hear you, Jeff, in that, like, I was just thinking about how, like, I have some things and I don't use very much of them, like the nutmeg thing. I have a jar of actual nutmegs. I'm not even just now halfway through one nutmeg, like grating, and I've had it for quite a while, so I'm pretty sure they're probably old, but I don't give a shit.
The flavor's there, it's just subtle.
Well, yeah, I mean, but it's okay. I mean, like last week, Jeff, you and I talked about food stuff, and so today I decided to use up all the apples I bought a while ago that are very peculiarly not going bad.
Thanks, corporate America.
Yeah, thanks, genetic modification and wax dipping or apples, apparently, or whatever, to preserve their freshness. But anyways, so I put them in the steam pot today to, cook them down. And then I was like, oh, you know what? I'm going to add cinnamon flavoring and some red food coloring so I can make pink applesauce like I talked about last week.
I remember that.
So
that's why Dave listened to an episode.
I actually made a recipe based off of the blueberry muffin recipe for apple cinnamon muffins.
Ooh.
And how'd they turn out?
I don't remember. It's been a while.
Oh, okay.
I have it.
Oh man. So like I am not the baker.
Right.
But you put a baked something in front of me and it's gone. Like
it just disappears.
Just like I love baked goods. So of all the things in the like that I like, that's my like weakness. So a like brownie, a cookie, a cake, a muffin, something like that, which is why I hate going to Panera Bread so much right now. But like baked goods are kind of like my weakness. They're
the muffins that are places like Panera, I don't really like.
So I
there's something about them that are just not good. They're
so like I would prefer a muffin from like not like a Kroger or a store-bought muffin or like a like even a Panera even. If I were to get like a real true genuine muffin, I would love a muffin from a bakery. Because to me there's a difference in the flavor. Whether that's we're using actual real ingredients or if we're just like it's more like smaller batch, whatever it is, there's something different about a bakery muffin and a like store-bought or slash like larger batch. So places like Panera, whatever, they're making them in larger batches. They are, whatever they say, so there's something to that where to me like the flavor gets diluted amongst a larger batch, as it were. So
go ahead, Damon.
Well, as an example, like in the kitchen, which I will probably tear into later tonight, I was at Jungle Gyms yesterday with AJ and Chester. Yay. And there was in there, Jungle Gyms has like, it's massive, but they have like a bakery area. And one of the things I ended up stopping, there was a woman who I'm assuming owns her own business and was there with, I'm guessing either her cook or her sister or whatever. They were both kind of there. And they were giving out samples of sweet potato pie. Southern style sweet potato pie.
Really?
Yeah. Wow. And it was hers. I'm assuming she was the owner because if you looked at the pamphlet and stuff, it was her.
Wait. Was it Patty LaBelle?
No. Patty don't make those pies. Come on. Patty had never made that pie. Whatever.
That's
Anyway.
no. Patty had a recipe. Patty took the recipe to a company where the company came to her. She made a deal with Walmart. Yes, I agree. There are people in hairnets and white outfits in a factory somewhere making them pies.
Turning those fucking pies out. But anyway, so I love this. I took a bite of this pie and I was like, yeah, this is awesome. This is wonderful. I love this. So I bought one. And it's a little pie, and it's probably maybe because there were several sitting there, but I can't wait to get into that because it's good. It was good. Then she even said, like, you should probably warm it up. And I'm like, yep, you best believe I will be warming that fucker up.
I will warm that up and I will have some lovely ice cream with it. And it will be.
Oh, I won't have ice cream. I don't have any.
Oh, that's okay.
That doesn't help.
Yeah. But like and believe it or not, I am not an a la mode kind of person. Like I want to taste the pie or the cake or whatever. I want to taste that. If I'm getting something like that, that's what I want to taste.
Yeah, I don't like ice cream in my cake or pie.
Yeah. Now,
I mean,
ice cream cake.
I'll eat it. I'll eat it like separately, but keep them separate. I don't want them mixing.
Like an ice cream cake. I usually I think
but that's pure ice cream anyway. So
yeah, it's not really cake.
Well, some of it's cake.
As Jeff and I had that debate last week about cheesecake is not a cake. I also say it's not a pie.
It's more like a pie. Look, Alton Brown says so. It's the truth. I mean, are you going to debate with Alton Brown when it comes to food?
I might.
Oh.
If it gets me live on stage at a tour, hell yeah. I would get picked from the audience to have this debate with him, which I'm sure would get like broadcast via YouTube on people's phones everywhere. And then we could tag back to it later and be like, hey, remember when we had this discussion way back in 491, 492? Yeah.
Yep. Oh my God. I love the idea of that.
I don't know. Like, I'm a carbaholic. I'm going to own it. Like sweets are sweets. And for the most part, I'm okay with them. Like after we get done with tonight's show, I'm actually going to get around finally today to making the thing that I was going to make this morning, but I slept in. I found a recipe for a fruit and nut stuffed gingerbread. But it's not like a loaf. It's not your traditional kind of sweetbread loaf, like zucchini bread or banana nut. It's actually more kind of in like a hand formed style. And it has like what you do is you take the fruit and you make a jam out of it. And then you put the nuts with that. So it's kind of like it baked in the middle of the dough, so to speak. So I found a recipe for that. I also found Martha Stewart has a Russian gingerbread cookie recipe that has a plum jelly thing in it that's iced. That intrigues me. So I don't know. I think I'm going to make the bread thing because I'm pretty sure I have all the ingredients for that, because I went and spent not a lot of money, but a couple of dollars, and I bought eggs and I bought butter and milk and like some stuff I didn't have in the house because I was like, I think I'm going to make something for Christmas. And so I found these two recipes and I'm like, yeah, I think I pretty much have all that stuff. So that'll be probably the thing that I end up, but I realized like time is running out because it is the 23rd.
Eve.
Yeah, exactly. Like it is the eve. So I was like, oh, and I still have to get laundry done and anything else that I plan on doing tomorrow before I go the actual day of the holiday to spend with Dad and his family. So I've got to do, I'm going over to his place early because he needs some help with some cleanup, and we didn't get didn't buzz his hair this past week like we had talked about. So I said, well, I'll come over early on Christmas and that'll give him a chance to take a shower and, get cleaned up before we go over. So instead of sleeping in late, like I probably would normally do, that day I got to be up earlier in the morning and help him with that stuff. So I was like, oh shit, that means I could probably do the baking tonight. Oh, and this one recipe for the bread thing. You have to let the bread sit overnight, or not the bread, the dough. It's in 2 steps. So you have to make the dough, let it sit in the fridge overnight, then roll it the next day, put the stuffing in it, and then, and stuff, and then put it in the oven. So I'm like, oh, well, crap. I guess I got to do that tonight so I can bake it tomorrow. So it'll be ready for Christmas.
One of my favorite things that my mom usually makes around this time of year, but she is, so if you remember, there's, I think it's called friendship bread or something along those lines, where you get a recipe from a friend and it's like days. You make it over like several days. And I remember her making this a couple of times over the years in the holidays, and it was so good. So just very tasty and tantalizing and fun. And I like the whole idea that it takes a while.
Yeah, when we got it, well, I guess there's maybe 2 different versions. The one that we got, you get a starter and the recipe.
Yeah.
So they give you a portion of the yeast-based batter, and then you basically add, I think, some sugar to it and maybe some flour and a little water, and you let it like do its thing at room temperature for a day, and you put it in the fridge for the day. I don't know, remember the whole thing. But anyways, you do a bunch of stuff, and then basically it doubles or triples over so many days. And then you take out a portion, which becomes the starter that you give to the next person. And then the remaining part is what you put all your stuff in, and then you bake it up and things like that.
It is okay. It's Amish friendship bread. Thought so.
Good to know. God, I haven't heard of that before.
I haven't thought of that since probably the 80s. I remember how huge of a thing that seemed to be. Like, it was back before the internet. This is the shit we used to do to be connected to each other. So someone at work would, and I remember my mom and I got into it once, and it became a problem because we had so many starters and nobody to give it to. And you're like, what am I going to do with all this? And what you don't realize is actually it was basically food in the, like, that was a chain mail, like that you were just paying it forward and you just kept passing it to other people. But the problem is everybody kind of got into it, or they didn't feel like screwing with it. So you end up stuck with a bunch of starters. And it's funny because it's like when you get, not that we get them much anymore, like in spam for chain mail, you can just delete that bitch. when you get a starter and you don't need it, or you have too many starters, you could just throw it away, or like keep it, but then, don't make more starter. Like, don't allow it to double, triple, or whatever in volume and other stuff.
Oh, and then of course there's like James Facebook posts.
Oh yeah, I'm avoiding a lot of that anymore.
Yeah, it's like I don't even comment or acknowledge or do anything for those type of posts because I think they're shitty ass posts.
Oh my god!
Like, you have no idea. Hey, leave a thing, and then I'll do a thing, and then make sure to post it well, or I won't do it.
Yeah, it's one of the things I've never. So I'm having a moment about these things. So let me just stop for a second. You can say whatever you want and say, I need to do it. But guess what? I ain't got to do it if I don't want to. Like, point blank period. Like, if I don't comment on your thing, like I got like, because of the season, I got a couple of things like, you should share this with me and share it with your friends and because it's the holiday and it's a card. And I'm like, no. I don't have to do that. I don't want to do that. Because to me, I hated spam emails when I was in college, when I was in high school, mostly when I was in college, because they passed around forever, and you would keep getting it because people would just send it out to whoever. And I hated it so much because to me, it was like herpes. It kept coming back. It kept, it was always there, and it kept coming back, and it would always rise to the surface, and you'd be like, fuck, and you'd have to do it again and send it out. And then the people that you were sending it out to were like, why are you sending this to me? Because I have to, because it's the whole thing. It's the whole chain thing. You have to do it this way, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, well, whatever. And it's just, no, I don't. So I vowed when I was on Facebook, when those things started popping up, I was like, nope, I am making a point to, if you want to do it, go on ahead and do it. But I'm not telling you to do it. You can make your own decision and do it.
Let's have some fun. Post your favorite GIF about something or another.
Mm-hmm.
I hate those things. I hate them with a passion. I'm like, no, they're not fun.
While they're harmless, I mean, and they are fun for some people, I'm not one to really, get involved. I guess
we're all curmudgeons regarding this.
Well, I guess I'm just kind of in a different place. I mean, I might see some people do that kind of stuff, but I'm like, that's not really important to me. Like, there's two main things that I might get out of Facebook these days when I do happen to log in, which isn't very much. It's I'm catching up on news, but that's because I'm following like Dan Rather's News and Guts column. Like, I'm seeing stuff from CNN. Like, so I'm actually getting news, so to speak, but I'm also getting news about people's lives. Like, I've removed following a lot of individuals. Like, I'm still friends with them, but I just don't see their stuff. There's a lot of people that I don't really see things from. I just kind of limited that a lot because it's like, especially I imagined and I figured out a lot of them were just like posting things that were, in my opinion, this is me speaking, they were inane. Like, I didn't care about them. So I was like, no, like I'd rather sort of be connected, and at least see posts from people that are, it's so funny because do you remember this was a meme for a while before we were calling it a meme? People would be like, I don't give any hoots about the fact that you had a healthy shit today. Why did you post that on Facebook? Do you remember that? Like, that was kind of a running joke that like people post everything on Facebook. True. I mean, I'm talking like probably 7-8 years ago. Like, they just posted everything, and I was like, and I'm glad to see, at least I think culturally we've moved away from that, but I'm just tired and not really into some things, and I'm like, like if it's pictures of people doing events and stuff like that, or going to stuff and seeing holiday lights and their decorations, that's cool, and that's fun, and seeing pictures of their kids and and family get-togethers and stuff, that's that to me is more what I'm interested in. Some of the other stuff I'm like, no, not
agreed.
And it's hard because sometimes I'll see stuff and I'll be like, oh well, that's kind of a helpful tip, and then I'm like, but do I really have to tell other people about it? No, like I can, but I don't have to. It's like, and I'm not Hints from Heloise, so it maybe not be my responsibility to like pass on all this random stuff that people end up posting about. Like how you could use fresh fallen snow to make snow cream, which is like ice cream made out of snow, for those of you that don't know. Which gets me to another thing. So I don't know about the two of you. I mean, Jeff, you're originally from up north and you've been in Texas for a number of years now.
Yeah.
We have not really gotten any snow this year.
Neither have we.
But I'm bumped. And Damon, I imagine you guys probably have had almost like none.
So it's weird. So let's we've had snow, but it's been like in September, October. Like, if you remember, Gary, like we had these like weirdly freaky like weather patterns, and all of a sudden we were getting snow. And I was like, why are we getting snow now? It's it's September, October, I'm assuming. But whatever.
Change.
Yeah. But I was talking with one of my coworkers the other day or last week. And she was like, "Oh, we're not going to have no." I was talking with my Uber driver on the way to home after getting my haircut on Friday, and she was all like, "Yeah, the weather," because I've been dealing with some congestion stuff that has been like because of the fact that it keeps like getting really warm-ish and then jumping down to like the 20s and 30s, and it's affecting my sinuses and all that shit. But anyway, so we were talking about it, and she was talking about it because I had coughed, and then she coughed, and she's like, "Yeah, I've got this cough because of the weather." And I'm like, "Yeah, me too." And she's like, "Yeah, I hate that it's not going to snow on Christmas." And I'm like, "I'm okay with that. Personally, I'm okay with that because to me, this is the time for people like traveling and getting together, and snow always has an effect on that. So
true.
I'm okay.
Oh, come on. You're from northern areas. You can take a little snow.
I could take some snow. Don't get me wrong. I'm okay with a snow. But what I want right now is I want it to make up its fucking mind. I want the weather to make up its mind. Like winter's technically officially started December 21st. I want it to, if it's going to be like snowy and cold and or whatever, or at least cold, I want it to be that way. These like 40, 50 temperatures that we're getting every once in a while. No, like it's winter. Let's let it be winter. And I'm okay with the snow. As someone who is pretty much pedestrian, that's where it's touch and go for me because I have to walk through it. So I'm okay with like a overnight snow. I would love what I love the most about a great Christmas, or a white Christmas as it were, is a snow that starts falling Christmas Eve night. And you know you're not going to have to work the next day because it's Christmas. You don't have to worry about it so much. So it just falls overnight. You get a nice little dusting, maybe a couple of inches, depending on where you are in the country. And then you wake up the next morning on Christmas Day, and the snow is still there because it's cold enough that it didn't melt. But it's also not necessarily sticking to everything. Like you can drive through it and everything. I would love that. That is to me my perfect like holiday Christmas like weather where it snows just overnight. It's done in the morning, or maybe it's just lightly falling or fading out as the morning comes. And here you are, you wake up on Christmas morning and ta-da, like a nice little blanket of white to kind of give the Christmas feel, and you go from there.
Well, I mean, there is something to be said for white stuff all over the place.
Oh, that's true.
Well, so, it's funny.
Lots of cookies.
Yeah. Everybody loves a good glazed edible.
For news. Is that what I call it?
So what I wanted to say is, like, it's funny because my dad and I made this pact, and this is not responsible for the weather, so everybody just calm down. My dad likes wearing shorts. And so it got colder, and I was like, Dad, why are you wearing shorts? It's cold outside. He has a jacket on, mind you. Shorts. And he's, I go to pick him up, take him to physical therapy, and he's like, I know, blah, blah, blah. And some of it, he has a limited amount of clothes and laundry and that. I get that. Well, about 2 weeks ago, I think it was, I said something to him, and I said, all right, I will make you a deal. If you continue to wear shorts and it stays about 40 degrees, like between 35 and 40 for winter, then I will shut up about you wearing shorts. Because to me, that's better than the alternative. Because I can deal. I am perfectly fine with 35 to 40 degree weather for the winter and like not 3 feet of snow. That's just kind of how I look at it. Because I live in an area where we could literally get buried in snow. Like last winter was like one of our greatest winter snowfalls on record. So it just kind of cracks me up a little bit. To go back to the live chat, I want to answer because we were talking about stuff, and Wolfie asked, can you just pick up snow and eat it? Or is it like the equivalent of eating dirt off the floor?
Yeah, you can pick up snow and eat it.
Yes and yes. So here's the rule with eating snow. It has to be
eat
white.
Yellow snow.
Yeah, the rule is it must be white. Don't eat any other color. Not yellow, not blue, not gray, not black, not brown. No, just
none of the bear colors.
Well, white is in the bear flag,
except for white. I was getting to that. So like that stripe in the middle where it's white, like that one. Anything beyond that, no.
Basically, when it comes to snow, you can be racist.
Wow. Well, to be fair, if it is colored outside, you could technically eat it. It just might not be pleasant tasting, and it could be poisonous or bad for your health.
This is true.
Put it that way. So, but here's the thing. What I mentioned about snow cream, typically when people make snow cream, you get a lot of snowfall in a short period of time, and it's a heavy, wet snow. So it's not so much like this crazy, dry, like kind of fluffy snow. you need like what is like a hard packable snow. And the reason why is because when you make snow cream, most people can use maple syrup or you can use sweetened condensed milk. And what you're doing is you're adding a sweetener and a liquid with flavoring to actual snow. So I've made maple snow cream and I've actually done the sweetened condensed milk method. But basically, you have all this hard packed snow in a bowl, and then you add that. Now, sweetened condensed cream just tastes like sweet milk, so you'd probably want to add like vanilla or something else to it to give it some flavoring. I mean, you can technically put berries or something in it. But yeah, like that's an essence. So yes, you can eat snow. I mean, you know, like
I mean, all it is ice crystals.
Yeah, I mean, like Arrow said, I guess it's fine. I used to do it all the time when I was a kid. Hell yeah. Like I ate snow as a kid. But this is, mind you, when I was this young, I was making snow angels and attempting to build a snowman in my yard because it was like 2 feet deep, you know, and we didn't have acid rain, I think, or acid snow at the time that I can recall. So
sorry, I had to answer that question. So someone was like, wait, what's orange snow? And I'm like, chemically
enhanced. Well, what made me think of all the other colors is like and this is more important for like for little kids. I mean, I think adults would know the difference, but that's why you don't eat the other colors, because it could be substances. Like I think of like when you park your car, I mean, it could be transmission fluid, it could be radiator fluid, brake fluid, like, and those unfortunately come in these crazy colors, like pinks and oranges and greens, and like what windshield washer fluid is blue. And like one of the craziest things was a couple years ago, while it made sense, it was also problematic. There was a pink windshield washer fluid that smelled like fruit, I want to say.
Oh God.
And the reason why was because when you put it into your, you know, windshield washer reservoir and then you sprayed it, it was good for, you know, negative freezing. So it was good for the winter weather, and it would help with like ice on your windshield. But if you ran your defroster, some of that scent would, you know, come into the car. So that's why it was scented. But I was also like, yeah, but little kids like don't have the Mr. Yuck thing. Like when we were younger, you know, that would tell you this is like, you don't want to eat this or drink it or whatever. So for me, it was like, this is problematic because like, this seems very edible. Like it's a pretty color and it smells nice. And I haven't seen it really on the market since. So I'm pretty sure it was short-lived. But that's what I mean by chemically enhanced, you know, like now technically, because Jeffrey likes, as we talked about last week, Orange Julius, you could technically take packed snow and add like orange juice concentrate to it, and, you know, and make something that way a little bit. Yeah, I mean, there's options to do with that. I'm sure there's probably freaking websites and cookbooks dedicated to it if you really wanted to look. So, yeah, some of the live chat was talking about snow days.
Oh, I miss snow days so much.
We haven't really had, well, no, that's not true. This past winter, we probably had a couple of days, I'm pretty sure, where the city shut down.
Right.
Just because,
and I'm sure Jeff like, really misses
it. That's pretty much any time there's snow.
Well,
here.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Texas, yes.
Texas just gets crazy. They're kind of like, what?
Everybody panics.
Does everyone remember like a few years ago when Atlanta pretty much shut the fuck down after the snow? Like
it was like a couple inches, right?
Yeah, it was something weird. Like it was like a few inches or something messed up. It wasn't a whole lot, where us in the north or, you know, wherever, we're like, what's going on? And for them, it was like, it's just about to go down.
It's just because they're not prepared. They don't have like the tools necessary to deal with snow.
So, well, it's funny because there's this weird inverse situation that happens. So people from the north that move to the south, like, so it's going to be a frost warning, and like cities and towns freak out, and like, you know, bread and milk, you know, gets wiped out at the grocery store. And the Northerners are like, what is the matter with you people?
Yeah,
because, you know, they've lived through like snowstorms and, you know, and blizzards, and they're kind of like, that's crazy.
You go to work in blizzards.
Right. And then you get the inverse, which is you get Southerners that move to the north. And I always end up saying this, and I kind of make a joke. I'm like, you haven't been here for the winter yet, have you? And they're like, no, everyone always says that to me. Ha 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 ha. Like, they don't understand. And I'm like, oh, you're in for a real world of hurt. Like, I remember when I moved into this place. I moved into this place the first winter I was here, and I went outside, and there was this young 20-something guy who was in the last unit on the end, and I looked over, and he was dressed in black dress slacks with like a black sport jacket on, I think, and maybe like a white dress shirt of some sort. No winter jacket, no gloves, no mittens, no snow boots of any sort for the winter, and was attempting to remove over 6 inches of snow off his car. No snow brush, no scraper. And I'm looking over at him, and he's literally using just his hand to try to clean off his car. And I was like, oh my God, girl. Like, you are not prepared for this.
Danger, girl. You are in danger.
I was like, and I'm out there in my big winter jacket. I wear 2 pairs of sweatpants, like, big, thick socks, winter boots. I got a shovel. I got the snow scraper and the snow blade, for the top of the car. I mean, I've got I'm fully dressed and decked out. I kind of look like that kid from the Christmas Story where he just kind of walks funny because you've got like an extra 6 inches all over your whole body and clothing. Because I'm like, I'm outside. It is cold. I'm gonna stay warm, and I'm gonna be out here for a while because That was so funny to me because that made me think. I'm like, are you from the South? And notably, they weren't here for but like another year after that, and I don't know where they moved to. I didn't know them, but I thought
probably move south again.
Could be. Woofy asked, "Hey, how does black ice work?" So black ice is incredibly dangerous. For those of you that have never heard of it, we refer to it here in the States, typically up north. Actually, you probably get it in Texas too.
Yeah.
It's a dangerous driving condition where basically liquid forms and freezes on a flat surface, but you can't really see it. You're right around freezing temperature. So 0 Celsius or 32 Fahrenheit. And the problem is, like, you might see it, but it doesn't look frozen.
Yeah, it was.
So you're like,
you might see like a mild gloss if the light hits it right.
Yeah.
But it's basically invisible ice, and it's very slippery.
Yeah, I think black ice is more because it was when it was on like black tops of like freeways and roads and stuff. And then from us here, I mean, it happens often, because of just the way temperatures go and everything else. It's become an issue. It definitely becomes an issue, and it's why there are so many things like salt trucks and what have you going out, like when the temperature hits a certain point, because they're worried about that forming. And it's always a catch-22 because the salt trucks pour the salt on, which is essentially meant to melt the snow and ice. But if it's too cold, all it does is just refreeze sometimes.
Right. That could be very problematic, especially if they're just using like rock salt. The rock salt, even though it could be smaller grain and it's put out by the truck spreader on the surface, it may begin to melt. But if the air temperature and the ground temperature are cold enough, you're right, Damon, like it kind of doesn't work.
Yeah.
And you can have like major accidents and traffic problems and,
And they have some new methods, like I don't know if they're new, but like there are methods now where like they're using things like beet juice and other things to kind of melt it so that it stays melted. But it's those are newer things. I know here in the city they've mentioned those recently within like the past 5-10 years of like new methods to like make sure that it stays melted so that when it's cold, when it's bitterly cold, like down in the 20s, that you're not too worried, but you do have to wait for the trucks to get through and all that stuff. And that's why sometimes you have like delays and school closings or business closings because of it's just that bad.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's lots of different substances they can use. Like if you're in a more rural area and you don't have paved roads as much, they might use cinder. So the truck actually, like a salt truck, only it's like a cinder truck, and basically it goes down the road and it basically is putting on the ground. It's not so much for ice, but more for snowpack. It's putting out like bits of gravel or kind of what looks like charcoal. And what it's meant to do is it's meant to give some texture to the snow because the snow gets driven on enough, even on like on a non paved road so much, it packs, and then that becomes dangerous because it basically it gets harder and harder, but then it also gets slicker because the top surface basically gets polished. So yeah, there's lots of different things. I don't know if you guys remember, probably about 4 years ago or 5 years ago now, Boston got buried in snow one winter, like so bad. They were literally, the plows were just shoving the snow into the ocean. Like they were just, and there was a lot of complaint from environmentalists because they had already been putting all these chemicals on the snow to kind of bring it down, but there was more snow than they could handle and they had no place to put it. Like they couldn't even like put it in trucks and then like try to take it out of state. Which sounds crazy to move snow out of state, but like you got to do something with it.
So
break out the ice sculptures.
So Wolfie asked the next question: can they pour antifreeze on the ground? And the answer is no.
Yeah, that wouldn't be so great.
Technically, can they? Absolutely. Is it illegal? Yes.
It's illegal, and it's also just, you know, because it gets into like the water table and potentially pollute the water and the ground, you know, groundwater supplies.
It's a very, very bad idea.
Yeah, it's a very bad chemical. Whereas things like we talk about salt, it's salt, but it's not like table salt. It's a different kind of salt. I forget what it's called, but
well, and that's what's hard is that people don't realize that the stuff that you buy, like I haven't actually, well, I didn't get any this year and I ran out last winter. You can get chemical substances to put on like your paved, like your steps and your sidewalk and stuff like that to keep it kind of clear from ice buildup and that kind of stuff. I made a point when I bought a 5-gallon bucket at the beginning of last winter, a year ago, or maybe the end of the previous year. I made a point when I was buying this stuff that I was reading through that the stuff I bought was safe for animals. Because what some people don't realize is some of the chemicals that they make that look like what we call rock salt or whatever that you put out actually can burn animals on contact. Like not a severe, like, you know, hydrochloric kind of acid burn, but their paws for like domesticated animals like cats and dogs, that kind of thing. Some people don't necessarily pay attention to that. And some of those substances aren't good for cement or asphalt. Like it can actually like eat away at some of the stuff. So, and because I would like my landlord to not have a cow. Because I ruined, you know, the cement steps or something like that.
Yeah, that's also true. Like there are certain things like for a lot of people that live like in northern where they're salting and everything else, you do want to get that stuff off your cars after a while, because if it builds up too much, it can eat away at your car.
Yeah. So typically when you have good, decent weather above freezing in the north after some snow, every car wash, as far as I can see, is busy. Like, especially if it's an automated one, people are going in. They don't necessarily want a big detail wash. They just want like
they want to rinse.
Right. You're right, Jeff. It's a rinse. They want to hose down to just kind of get all that chemical residue off the outside of the vehicle. We have a chain up where I am that's based actually in New York called Delta Sonic. And it's you stay in your car the whole time. And like, there's, you know, 3 different packages to choose from. It does all this stuff and you drive through, and then they actually have technicians. Like if you want, some places do an oil change and they can do an interior clean. And usually post winter, starting probably right before spring, they start up, although I think it's available all year. They do a salt extraction from your carpet. So because we have so much in the winter and it gets on your footwear, and then when you get in and out of the vehicle, your carpet can actually get like the salt solution embedded in it. So they actually basically do kind of like a wet vac treatment with a solution to break down the salt and then kind of like take it out of the carpeting, which I never knew of. But then this car had a black interior. My last one had a tan interior. So this one, like they were able to point out like around the door, I basically had a white salt crust. Like I was like, oh, okay. And it wasn't that expensive to have that extra treatment kind of thing done. But that's another example of like stuff you just don't think about when it comes to the winter. Wolfie asked in the live chat, do you guys get asked to play Santa at Christmas family gatherings?
Nope.
While I may be
So
big
for-
enough, my beard is not white enough, and I would like to think I am not yet old enough.
So there's two sides to the story for me. So when we do holiday gatherings with my family, you know, in the years past, we used to have a we used to do like draw names because our family was so large. We would draw names and everyone would get a gift from someone else. So it was like a Secret Santa kind of thing. And every year someone would play Santa Claus, which was the one that would be giving out the gifts. So they'd go under the tree and hand everything out. And I've done that before. I've done the, you know, over at the holiday and you're playing Santa Claus because you're the one giving out the gifts.
We always just referred to that person as the elf.
Yeah.
Like we never actually said it was Santa. We got presents from Santa. We still got presents from Santa. Actually, this year I don't think we're getting presents from Santa, but
Arrow asked in the live chat, why does white salt crust sound dirty?
Because it does.
I don't know. It doesn't sound dirty to me.
no, crusty sounds dirty in general to me.
Crusty.
No. It sounds dirty, but not the fun kind of dirty. It sounds nasty. Like you need to wash that, whatever it is. Just gonna say for the record.
No, thank you. Get those crusty ass away from me.
Yeah, exactly.
After you come on me, you're gonna wipe it up so I don't get crusties. That's what
There
you're
we
trying
go.
Wow. Well, now I can understand where.
Yeah,
Arrow
I'm okay with it. I'm okay with the come and then cuddle and then like it's all crusty while you're cuddling and taking a nap.
Well, okay, so
Yes,
like I'm two ways about this. I'm two ways about everything. There are moments where if we have had a really awesome like moment in time and we are drenched or not drenched, but you know, like there's fluids and whatever about you, and you just it kind of is the natural progression of things where you just kind of cuddle and fall asleep, and it happens. Like I've had that happen before, where then when you wake up, you're like, you know, it's still dried up and all that stuff. I'm okay with that. However, for the most part, usually when things have happened and those fluids haven't, for lack of a better phrase, gone into someone, those fluids need to come off the body like as soon as possible and into a towel or a washcloth or a baby wipe or something so that so they're not there anymore. And then maybe a wash or shower afterwards because cleanliness is next to godliness. Hallelujah.
I am a big proponent of when you're done having your fun, whoever's hosting is the way I refer to it. So if it is your home, it is your room at the hotel, wherever you may be, you go to the bathroom and you run really hot tap water and you put a washcloth in there and you get it, you know, soaked with some nice hot water and you wring it out. So the washcloth is warm. And then
a little damp.
Yeah. And a little damp. And you can hand it to the other person, you know, give it to them. You can use one on yourself. I just think that's like kind of the polite thing to do. So they can, you know, kind of wipe themselves and whatever if need be, even if they're not necessarily, you know, covered. Like maybe it's just, you know, a little bit of the armpits or whatever, because, you know, they got sweaty and stuff. I just think that's kind of the pleasant thing to do. Only because, and you can completely go cuddle. Like after you kind of, you know, wipe yourself down or whatever. Yeah. I mean, I've known, you know, wow, that's a fond memory I haven't thought of in a while. Sorry. There was a time that I spent with a nice person, and afterwards I went and, you know, got my, you know, a washcloth for me and a washcloth for them, and they were really surprised. They were like, "Oh, well, thank you." And I thought, actually, my first thought was, "What kind of Neanderthals you've been with?" But
true,
not everybody does that. And granted, like I didn't necessarily always do that, but it was just one of those things. Like we're in a hotel room, and you know, linens are free,
Agreed.
sort of.
Agreed.
Um, so I went and got, and then the thing was, it was funny because, they wiped up and I thought they were going to hand it back to me, and instead they just tossed it on the floor. And my OCD was like, twitch. But then I was like, but they weren't leaving. And I was like, okay, so, crawl back into bed and get into the sheets and, cuddle up, take a nap or whatever.
Yep. I've done both. Well, I mean, because it's just like, let's get it out of the way, because it's a hotel. No offense. Sorry, hotel people, but sometimes that's just the way
I just must be the dirty one, because I'm like, no, I don't care about that. I mean, sure, sometimes I'll just wipe up if it's a come and go, but
I mean, because okay,
if it's you're sticking around, we're sticking around.
Literally.
I mean, I'm tired from all the work that we just did.
Wow.
But I will say this much. So
I'm not going to get up and get it, even if it's within hand's reach. I'm just going to take it like a man.
I'm usually okay with like grabbing a towel, because I usually have one nearby. Because at least then, if they don't want to have it on them, because I know there are some people that have like a weird like aversion to like cum. Like,
right.
So like I'm okay with like, here you go. Like, and I'm like, you have the option if you wish to wipe up or whatever. Like, if I have, people here, I usually have a thing of baby wipes nearby. Because to me, I'm like, if you wish to take it off you, you can take it off of you. If it's not already been taken off of you somehow.
Right. No, I mean, and I agree. Like, Arrow says, I always thought it would be best to keep wipes by the bed for cleanup. Absolutely. Like, I have I don't want to call it a stack. I have a collection of used socks. And by that I mean like you get new athletic socks, and people, I don't know why, they always seem to throw them out. And I'm like, hell no, they're still good. Like, you could use them to dust. You could use them, for cleaning, and like shine your shoes, or or clean things that are going to get dirty, and like you don't give a shit that this fabric is going to get ruined, basically. So I have those, because so the current new ones are the ones that are used on your feet, and the old ones that haven't been obliterated and ruined and basically turned into trash or disintegrated, those ones can be used for other things. So I mean, to me, it's all about preparation. Like if it's a planned thing in advance, then yeah, like you can have some stuff, but some things are more impromptu, so you may not be ready. You may not have washcloths clean and ready, or towels or whatever.
Well, I always have a cum rag at the end of my bed, so.
Well, that's for you.
Oh, it's a cum towel. It's like a full towel.
But that's yours.
It's not even.
Like, are you talking like a bath sheet, like a hand towel, like
a bath, like more closer to a bath sheet? It's a bath towel.
That's a lot. That's big.
Hey,
yeah.
Well, I'm just saying,
usable. It's crusty.
I'm like looking around. I'm like, I don't have anything immediately available to grab to reference and be like, most rags.
We have
are like the size of a piece of paper.
We have our Clubs Out Loud.
We have a set of Clubs Out Loud towels. I mean,
available on Zazzle.com.
Well, they're technically called washcloths.
Yeah, they're washcloths,
which is hysterical.
They're
only like
they are washcloths. They're literally washcloths.
Even though they're 12 inches by 12 inches in size, which is big for a washcloth. But anyways,
no, that's fine. It's not the size. It's a big washcloth, but still, it's fine.
It's good for the
washcloth. I've used it as a divider between. So funny story. So I was going to DC actually to visit AJ for my birthday. And I wanted to keep certain things like separate from the rest of like my clothes. So I had like my leather under, and I was able to put some of my leather literally under the Clubs Out Loud washcloth. So I put it out there, and I was like, oh, this is perfect, because it literally keeps a layer between that stuff and like my clothes. And I was like, I don't know why I do it. Don't ask me. Really, literally don't ask me. It's just one of the things I do. and it was perfect because it kind of kept things kind of in the corner. And I knew if I went under that, that was where like my gauntlet or my wristbands or my harness or my puppy hood were. I think I kept it mostly around my puppy hood to kind of keep some of the like I think I had my jeans on underneath it or on top of it to keep some of those like imprints from getting into the neoprene puppy hood.
No,
example.
I completely agree. Like when I've traveled in the past, like I would kind of divide things. So like if I took footwear, I always put them in a plastic shopping bag and then tied off the handle, so to speak. Not to seal it so much, but just because the bottom treads are typically dirty, you know. Not many people clean the bottoms of their feet very often, I think. And I don't mean feet, footwear. So I don't want that getting on any of the other clothes. So those will always be on the bottom of my luggage. And then I'll put other stuff on it. But sometimes, yeah, like I'll divide stuff out. Like I might put some of my toiletries between certain things or put stuff around my toiletries in case like they're not already in a zip bag or something so hopefully they don't leak and get on stuff. But yeah, I get it, David. You're like, this helps divide the sections of the stuff, but then also keep stuff from coming into contact with other things. Like, and sometimes you forget about that. Like leather naturally has oils. If it's been treated, like you had somebody tan it or clean it or maybe do some coloring on it, you may not be aware that some of that can possibly come off. It's not supposed to, but you don't know what necessarily they did unless you did it yourself. And even then you have to be careful. Like if you used an over-the-counter product for dyeing, typically that stuff needs a certain amount of time to dry and set and probably should have a protective coat on it, but some people get lazy about that. So you might forget. And then you put it in and then you're like, you pull out your shirt and you're like, what is this smudge mark? And then you're like, oh shit. So yeah, there's things of that. That thing. I wanted to make a clarification because Arrow said in the live chat, in my household, those were called rags. Why they're called washcloths is beyond me. So I want to clarify. In the past part of the conversation, when I said washcloths, I meant real washcloths.
Yeah, like actual washcloth.
Like an actual washcloth from the bathroom, whether it's in my house or in the bathroom of the hotel. Like, yeah, legitimate washcloth.
And by the way, we do have a Cubs Out Loud full towel set, which includes a washcloth, hand towel, and bath towel. Or you can get one, or you can get what of each. It's like $42.46 as I speak, and there's also a discount code for the full set.
Available now on Zazzle.com.
/Cubs Out Loud.
Yeah.
Make sure you do the /Cubs Out Loud to get to the right store. Because our stuff is just not the entirety of Zazzle. There's like a whole bunch of other shit in there.
Okay. Hold on.
Uh-oh.
Available now on Zazzle.com /Cubs Out Loud. Ding.
David and I are making fun of like Drag Race because RuPaul is the most infamous promoter in existence of all her shit. This is my song, Butch Queen, now available on iTunes. Ding! Like there's always like a sparkle eye, like kind of CG graphic. Yeah. That's why we're making fun. So promote our own stuff. Yes, that's.
Oh, you can get it now for Christmas. Or maybe not in time for Christmas, but
even with Zazzle Black 2-day shipping, I think you've passed the date.
No, it probably wouldn't arrive until at least Boxing Day.
Nice.
Or Unboxing Day, as the case would be at that point. But you could have it as a celebration of New Year's, or definitely probably have it in time for.
Do you know that there actually is a day called Boxing Day on the 26th?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Just clarify because I don't know where this unboxing day came from.
Because you get it in the mail and you open the box.
Anyway,
I was being punny.
It was not working. Anyways.
Well, my.
Oh, nice.
So we, you know what's really funny? I feel out of sorts in the podcast world because we actually did a show. A lot of the podcasts I listen to are all like, "Hey, we're taking off for the holidays. We'll talk to you next year or in 2 weeks or whatever. Like, and they've been
like,
doing,
no.
And they had like stuff.
We are dedicated bitches.
They had stuff bagged. They had filler shows. They're doing like what we call flashbacks, like all sorts of different. It's just cracking me up. I'm just like, yeah, we're still plugging away doing.
It's so funny. Like one of the things my mom always. So my mom's a big soap opera fan. And one of the things that always happens for like soap operas during the holidays is the Christmas episode. It's never like they have a Christmas episode, but it's not on Christmas. They have it like 2 days before, or maybe a couple of days or something like that.
Holiday episode.
So usually on Christmas, they always run a rerun. And usually the rerun is a holiday episode from a year ago or 2 years ago. So it's very funny to me that like people do that. And I'm like, why can't we just have a live, like, why can't you just tape a show and have it in time for the holiday?
You know what I'm going to be watching like tomorrow?
What are you going to be watching?
I'm going to be watching a playlist I created of all of my Super Sentai holiday shows.
Ooh,
Christmas episodes. Nice. Speaking of which, I think I need to double check to make sure I'm caught up on all the shows, because there may be new Christmas episodes with the more recent series. So I need to make sure I got those, just to make sure I got a full list of what I have available, because I have everything from Die Ranger to looks like the last one. Oh yeah, the last one is Key Ranger, which is the last one. So not this year's series, but last one. So I don't know if they have a Christmas episode for the Kaito Sentai Lupin Ranger versus Keisatsu Sentai Pat Ranger series. Yes, this year's Sentai series has two Sentai teams. In one series. It's a 2-for-1.
Yeah, I remember this one.
Before I forget, because you were talking about things to watch for Christmas, and I don't want to wait until next week, because it'll sort of be after the fact. If you have Netflix and if you've watched the Adventures of Sabrina, is that the right name for the new Netflix series?
Something like that. It's like Chronicle or Sabrina
something
or something like that.
Right. So if you watch the new series on Netflix and you weren't aware because you didn't have it like saved to your list or whatever, there is a holiday show. It's a one-off between seasons 1 and 2. So it's kind of like a 1.5. It's just one 1-hour episode. I think it's just over an hour maybe. And it's the holiday season. So I just want people to know that it's out there if they're interested, and they especially if they watched the first season and they liked it, but for some reason didn't know before the second season comes out next year.
The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina is just
there. That's it. Yeah, but it's cute because it's seriously a holiday themed episode. Of course, because it's Sabrina, and it's meant to be witchy and satanic. It's comical slightly to me how they do everything with a twist, or the other version of things, but they kind of talk about Yule log and like the confluence of different faiths or not faiths, but like decorations and different stuff like that come together. So it was neat. It was a cute episode. So I just want to make sure that I mention that before I happen to forget, because it's holiday related. I imagine I will probably do my classic thing that I do every year for Christmas. Since I know I'm probably going to have a full day for Christmas, probably tomorrow night, I will sit down and I will watch White Christmas. Actually, nice. That and Holiday Inn. They're classic Christmas movies. I like both of them. I'm a weird fan of White Christmas in that I just love that movie despite its flaws and silliness. If you've never seen it, I recommend that you do see it. It's a classic. I mean, a lot of people do watch it around this time of year, which is kind of funny to me because it makes sense because of the theme and what the movie was. But it's sort of a gay culture sort of film in that you've got Rosemary Clooney, famously, who sings in it, Bing Crosby, Danny Kaye. When you get to the finale of the whole movie, there is this big ass production number that gets done, and the two women are dressed in these big ass like red dresses. It's downright damn near like almost gay drag pageant. Like it's not as like, gay, but I think that's the part that I really like the most is when you get to the big Christmas number. So
yeah, but do you know the first movie that Bing Crosby sings this song "White Christmas" in?
I think that's Holiday Inn.
Yes.
So
I usually like to pair these two, Holiday Inn and White Christmas, because it's almost it kind of feels more like sequel-ish, where Holiday Inn goes into White Christmas. So.
I love the premise of Holiday Inn, which is taking an old inn in Vermont or is it New Hampshire, and like basically turning it into a bed and breakfast year round. And then the whole thing is that they do these big musical production numbers for each holiday each month as they go throughout the year. I love that concept. And it's funny because like last year, the year before, I got on this big kick about White Christmas. Like I tried to figure out where the actual building was. And like how they filmed it, and like is it a real place that you could go visit, because I'm sure people would like pay buku bucks to go have a winter vacation at this place, with a horse-drawn sleigh and barns and the countryside and all that kind of stuff. So, and it is also a gay iconic movie, because then you have Bing Crosby and Danny Kaye doing drag in it. I completely forgot about that. Where they do the sisters number. So you have to watch the movie to understand, but like
they also lip syncing, aren't they? Like
yes.
The women are doing the singing and they're just lip syncing.
So Rosemary Clooney and Vera Allen play legitimate sisters in the movie. And then there's a turn of events, and then Bing Crosby and Fred Astaire imitate them, dressed as them, performing lip syncing the girls' number sisters with big feather fans. Like it's hysterical. Oh, and as a Quizzoid fact, for those of you that don't know, and if you like White Christmas and you know what I'm talking about, towards the end of this number, Danny Kaye takes the fan and smacks Fred Astaire, and Bing Crosby. I keep doing that. So Danny Kaye smacks Bing Crosby. Bing Crosby starts to laugh. That was not planned. That's actually an ad lib, like goofy moment that they actually put in for the edit. And I never knew that. Like I found that out like a year or so ago, and I was like, well, that kind of explains why it's so funny. Bing Crosby just starts laughing, like sort of uncontrollably in that moment. So yeah.
Nice.
It's fun. But yeah, there's like all these musical production numbers. So, if you're into that kind of stuff and all that. But
there's also the Charlie Brown Christmas specials. I think there was like 2 of them at least.
I don't know if there's 2. I always know the one because that's the most famous one. If there's more than one, I haven't seen the other one, I don't think.
Surely.
As they're looking. So while they're looking,
as we all type it in.
What I'm going to be doing for Christmas is we're actually hosting. I'm staying in town again this year. My mom kind of made a point to mention that she's not doing a big Christmas this year, mostly because she's trying to get a house, which I'm happy for her. She wants to move out of her apartment that she's in, and she's looking to potentially get a house, but she needs to get her credit to a point where she can do that. So she's like, I'm not spending a whole lot of money on Christmas. So like, okay, that's fine. All right, we're good. So this year we're hosting Jim's family on Christmas Eve. So tomorrow afternoon, they'll be here. We'll do presents and little bites is the plan. Was supposed to like a full-on lunch or a full-on dinner. We're kind of doing like an appetizer kind of thing, which is cool. We'll do presents, we'll exchange gifts, we'll do all of that. Then Christmas Day, Jim has made a rule because he's off for the next couple of days. He is making Christmas Day a day of rest. As I mentioned earlier in the show, he's pretty much every night for the past week, he's pretty much been doing his show at Winterfest. And he's like, I'm tired. I asked him today, like, what do you want to do for Christmas? And he's like, I want to rest. And I'm like, why? And he goes, yeah, because I pretty much have been working, every day, every night for several hours for doing until now. And I respect that.
It's a great
So
idea.
yeah. So my thought process is to maybe relax as well. Work has been kind of busy and kind of crazy. So it'll be nice to just like, let's just not, make any plans. Let's just, get up when we want to get up and maybe do some things here and there around the house. We've already got each other our Christmas gifts. So that's a given. So we can literally spend the day just chilling and not worrying about things. One of the gifts we got each other or we got together was we got a new Keurig machine. So, and on top of that, we were like, hey, we've got this little coupon for like half off of some stuff. So since you bought a new Keurig, so we got a whole bunch of the pods of different kinds of things we want, including a peppermint hot cocoa, which I'm probably going to have here in a little bit. And yeah. So answer the question.
So there are 4 Charlie Brown Christmas specials. There's the classic A Charlie Brown Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
There's kind of the sequel, It's Christmas Time Again, Charlie Brown. The difference between the years, the first one was 1965. The second one was 1992.
Oh, wow.
There's also one called Charlie Brown's Christmas Tales from 2002. And in 2003, there was I Want a Dog for Christmas, Charlie Brown. So I don't know if that's necessarily a Christmas special on that last one, but it has Christmas as the title. So, but yeah, there's a lot more Christmas specials. Most of these you can get on iTunes. Not all of them. Well, all the ones I mentioned, I think, are all on iTunes. But there's on Wikipedia, there's a Peanuts filmography, which basically lists pretty much everything. Nice. Boy Named Charlie Brown, Snoopy Come Home. Snoopy Come Home, I cried to like all the time.
Oh, I love Snoopy Come Home.
Race for Your Life, Charlie Brown, Bon Voyage, Charlie Brown, and Don't Come Back. Then, of course, the 2015 Peanuts movie.
Mm-hmm.
Educational, lists all the television specials, the Charlie Brown and Snoopy show.
I remember Charlie Brown and Snoopy show.
One of my favorite things, This Is America, Charlie Brown, the miniseries.
Mm-hmm.
Which has the Mayflower Voyages, the Birth of the Constitution, the Wright Brothers and Kitty Hawk, the NASA Space Station, which always thought was really cool. Story about the Transcontinental Railroad, the Great Inventors, the Smithsonian, the Presidency, and the Music and Heroes, which by the way is also all on iTunes. And there is actually 2016 there was a Peanuts series. What do you know? And of course, the musicals that are on Broadway: Your Good Man, Charlie Brown, Snoopy the Musical, and Charlie Brown Christmas.
Yep.
And the list of video games. Anyways, that's the filmography. Because you know what? Peanuts are cool, and they were originally based out of Minnesota. That's where Charles Schultz is from.
Nice.
Oh, Minnesota connection.
I just realized that's what I could have asked for the holiday. No, Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas.
Oh yeah,
came out as a soundtrack this year. Finally, after all these years, I got to look it up. I'm pretty sure you can get it off of Amazon.
I think it might be on
the Apple special Music too. Has been around for quite some time. But I'm pretty sure it's the soundtrack and maybe the DVD that came out. No, the DVD's been out. That says 2008. Yeah, this year, November 2nd, the music from the original TV presentation came out, finally. You can get the MP3 album on Amazon for $9.49.
Ooh.
Or the audio CD for $13.
Available now on iTunes. Link.
And it's probably as part of Apple Music too.
It is. If you have, sorry, I misspoke because you said Apple. I know you can get it as part of Amazon Music Unlimited if you pay for that.
Yep, it's part of Apple Music.
Look at you. Nice.
But I might end up watching that. Another Sugar Christmas. That's probably my weepy one, depending on my mood. Especially if I drink a bunch.
Well, folks,
in a shower.
We've been going for about an hour and 45 minutes. So I think that's probably the end.
Excuse me.
Yay.
So we here at Cubs Out Loud would like to wish you all happy holidays. Leave us your holiday messages at cubsoutloud.com, our website. Shoot us an email at cubsoutloud@gmail.com. Leave us a voicemail at 361-COL-TALK. That's 361-265-8255. Follow us on the various social media outlets at Cubs Out Loud in the appropriate places URL. That's an Instagram, Facebook, kind of Tumblr, Twitter, and YouTube. Because it's still there. As far as I know, our account hasn't been banned. It's just none of the porn stuff. So,
well, yeah, maybe we should talk about that next year. Maybe we should probably start talking about what happened with Tumblr because I still have my account. And I still see stuff, so I'm confused. I don't know what happened.
We'll see. Anyways, moving on.
Right.
We digress. You can join our entourage chat at tinyurl.com/telegram-col. You jump in for a while, chat with a few people. There are people who go in and out all the time, so don't be afraid. Join in. You can also find out when we're doing all these things once we have them set in stone, which lately has been a little iffy because we've all been busy, at tinyurl.com/calendar-col. Remember, we mentioned there's a merch store at Zazzle.com/Cubs Out Loud where you can get your own Cubs Out Loud towel set. That includes a washcloth, a hand towel, and an actual bath towel. So,
or you could get shirts like Damon and Jeff are wearing. You can get yourself you can get a ball cap. We got all sorts of stuff.
Ball cap. Yep, my ball cap. There we go. I had to lean over because it was just out of reach. Anyways, strangely enough, they let me wear that to work, despite the fact that it's the distressed one. But that's beside the point. You can also subscribe to us on Patreon. And apparently none of our patrons wanted to join us today, or it was kind of late notice, probably.
Well, notably, some people did say they were with their families today.
Yeah.
So, which I've thought about, and I was like, oh, well, that does make sense because technically the holiday is towards the beginning of the week. Yeah. So some folks might have tomorrow off, like took holiday to extend time.
Yeah.
But you can do that at patreon.com/Cubs Out Loud. You also get this show audio wise, at least, a day early than the rest of the feeds, and also an extended version usually. This has been a hangout, so everybody's getting the same damn thing. So there you go. You can rate us on iTunes, subscribe to us on Google Play Podcasts, give us a thumbs up on Stitcher Radio, and don't forget you can subscribe to us on YouTube, and also ding the bell to get notifications when we go live. And new videos go up. So you can find me anywhere on the internet as Box Up, Box Puppy, Box Gub, Box something or other.
I have Theater Cub 79 on some bear themed websites, including Facebook.com, or you can find me as pup_umbra on Twitter.
If you would like to get in touch with me, most places I can probably be found as GareBear73, but if not, if you're interested in what became the replacement of my Tumblr, you can put in GareBear73XXX on Twitter or on bear.community, which is an instance on Mastodon. So it's kind of new.
So if you're in a different Mastodon instance, you can still find Gary and subscribe to him. It's GareBear73XXX at bear.community.
And Jeff's on there too.
Yeah.
So
except I haven't looked at it in like I don't know how long since the last time we talked about it. So
it's not highly active, I'll be honest, but actually it's so nice because it feels like the beginning of something where you get to kind of know people a little bit if you want to. So and they post some very nice pictures. I'll just say that.
And with that, say good night, everybody.
Good night.
Goodbye, everybody. Enjoy your holiday week, and we will chat again before the new year.
Look on Christmas, Christmas Day.